Which is a very, very good subject. Because I know there's so many people on this earth that are trying to find their soulmate.
I am.
And they're going through. You will.
I had a dream about it.
Yeah, you've had dreams already, sure. So anyway, the soulmate that we're looking for is part and parcel of the drive within us to have the relationships that we have. We have these relationships with one soul or a particular soul or this soul, and we try to put our heart and soul into and try to make that other soul be what you want them to be your soulmate, to be in line with you. And it doesn't work that way. You got to be progressing in your own way while the soulmate has to be progressing in their way. And so if it is not your soulmate, there's going to be breakup and heartbreak and hurt and a terrible feeling within yourself when you have this happen. And then you got to get your bootstraps together, pull yourself up and stand up straight again, and then go looking again and looking again. But everyone is brought to you for a reason. It's all for a teaching process to have these experiences with that person. Not only are you learning from them, but you're teaching them something. It's a learning and teaching process for each person that gets together, no matter how many different relationships you have. If you find yourself in a pattern where you're going after the same relationship type over and over, then you have to stop and think to yourself, well, what do I want? The only way I can control what I want is to really think this through and not jump into this and jump into that. Take it slow and easy. Go at it bit by bit, step by step. Make sure you really get to know the other person before you jump in solely and get hurt. You've been hurt enough. And the lesson out of that is not to be hurt anymore. And there's certain ways that you will feel that you must break it. I'm going to say, no, I can't do this. Doesn't work. It just doesn't feel right with me anymore. And you must break it, and that you must do when you start getting those thoughts immediately. Not wait till something terrible happens.
But I think a lot of people also stop their progress because of their past, and because especially romantic relationships. They have a bad relationship with a boyfriend, husband, girlfriend, wife, partner, whatever, or abuse from parent, and it carries over to their romantic relationship, and so it could make them very untrustworthy or very unwilling to take the risk to care about somebody, so they hold their own progress back, and also just are unwilling to have that experience because of fear of getting hurt. So I think there's that aspect to it as well.
Very much so. All this has got to be taken into consideration. This is why you need to evaluate yourself within yourself. You need to do the thinking over quietly within yourself. Now, some people call that, I got to go into meditation. Meditation is nothing more than you talking within yourself. You're talking things over with your guide. Your guide is your best listener. Your guide knows you better than you know yourself. He's selected to be your guide because you both have the same lessons. So he's learning these lessons that you're learning, and as you go along, or she's learning her lessons with you, whatever. You have to know that it's a two-way street all the time. And therefore, you have to be able to answer these things that are happening to you in a way that you can connect not only with today, but even possibly with your past life. Your past life would be why you're having certain patterns in your relationship. It could be that these people are coming in, were even connected to you in your past life. So if you accept that that's all possible, you just let it be, and you live for the now, and you do the changes from now on. And so therefore that's how you stop. You make the decision, just simply making the decision, to stop and go on the right path and be more careful. And you use that same thing about the white light around you, and you want the highest and the best. And I want no negativity. I want no problems, no accidents or injuries. I want to be kept divinely protected. And you're asking and giving that power to your guide, who will call on help if he needs it.
What if somebody has a lesson to learn? Can their lessons be less harsh than they would be if they're listening and asking for protection? Your
lessons would be less hard to go through. They will be easier. They say that in the books. They tell you that if you're listening and paying attention and working on the right track, you'll get more and more help from the universe, and the lessons will still be there, but they'll be a lot easier. And you'll be saying, oh, thank God I got through that. Thank God I got that. I just never going back there again. And that's what it's all about. It's all a learning process. And it's a learning process, touch and go. And as you're learning, you're progressing. So is your soulmate, wherever that soulmate may be. You may have even touched base with them once already in your life. And you had that feeling, that's my soulmate. But you had some more lessons to learn. And you have not vibrated to the same level as the soulmate to join up. So then this one goes around with their lessons, you go around with your lessons, and maybe later in life you will come together and be one for the rest of your life. That you just knew you were my soulmate way back when I was a teenager or whatever, having this relationship. You just had that inner feeling. But because you have to learn your own lessons, you have to learn your own lessons in your own way. You're the lessons, not putting your lessons onto someone else or not taking on their lessons. They have to do their own lessons. And that's the reason for the separation and then the finally coming together. If you do not hook up in this lifetime, you will hook up in the universe because you'll both be working there the same way. Souls helping souls, where you're supposed to be people helping people here. It's the same difference. And the more you help another, the more that you will receive yourself in your progress and getting closer and closer to the step that will be taken to come together for the final soulmate. And you just know. When you know, when it happens, all time stops. There's no time you don't understand where you are, what it's just you're just taken over with a feeling that you just know.
They're overwhelmed with love.
Overwhelmed. It's an ultimate love. And then you will work together as a team from that point on, not only here, but back in the universe. Many soulmates are working as teams, all over the universe.
Sounds like a good team.
Like I always use Mary Todd Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln. They're a team. She was the first lady, he was the president. Yeah, it's interesting to tell you about reincarnation. Mary Todd Lincoln's first reincarnation was on Atlantis.
Explain reincarnation and how many times you get, because there's a lot of discrepancy from different religions and beliefs about you can come right back or, you know.
And you know, also, we mentioned religions, most of the religions has taken reincarnation from their teachings. It was there in the past in the early days, but it's been taken away because they don't want you to get involved with that stuff at all.
And then some think some religions, though, believe you have 7, or I've heard 10,
as high as 600.
Or you can come back as animals, or...
and come back as animals? No way. You cannot come back as animals.
So explain, decipher that for us.
No, you cannot come back as animals. An animal's an animal's soul. Human's a human soul. And it is wrong to worship animals and create anything into a god like we did in our pagan days. And we're still carrying that on all the way through these ancient religions that are still hanging on today. Between all the idols and everything that we made, and we made a God for everything. That all has to change. The God is all the one and the same God, and it's right within every one of us. And we got to unfold it as we grow and progress. We're unfolding that love that is coming from within the soul, which is already there. The answer to every question you could ever have is within your very self, in your soul. And you will bring that forth in yourself as your search goes on, and your progress goes on in your life. And all of a sudden you get more and more answers and more clarity and more that makes sense and more I feel so much better and I'm much happier now and all that. That's what true happiness is all about. That's what heaven is. There's no place called heaven. It's a state of condition.
But how many chances do we get to come to Earth and walk?
Only 3.
3 chances.
I said before, 3 chances. 3 chances that are, not 3 chances, 3 lifetimes that are a full lifetime. Now we said Abraham Lincoln was here. And he got short in his lifetime. If you have a short lifetime from something like that, then you're allowed to come back and work with Earth souls to complete that. You could even come back into the body to have a 3rd lifetime. And it could be within about 200 years. That's the soonest they're telling us. It used to be 500 years was the minimum that anyone could return. Most of them it's 1,000 years before you come back on your next lifetime. And then it was 500 years, and now they've cut it down to 200 years. They're letting them come back sooner because there's too many of them sitting on the other side waiting to return to Earth now to do their 3rd reincarnation. Some still waiting for their 2nd, believe it or not. But there are no first-time souls on this Earth at all. There hasn't been for thousands of years. The new souls has been not been sent to the Earth, as I said, over 500 years. They haven't even sent a new soul. So they're all old souls that are allowed to come back now. All new souls go to the new dimension. All good souls go to the new dimension. No good souls have been coming back to Earth since the 50s. They stopped good souls from returning. As soon as you become a good soul, you're given the choice to go to the new dimension. It's a free choice again. You don't have to. There's many that choose to say, no, I want to stay here and work in the astral plane to help my family and get that out of the way, because sooner or later they have to get that out of the way, the family connection, see? So anyway, with the souls that have made that progress to elevate themselves to a higher level right here on Earth, giving you an example how that can work, you can feel so much lighter, so much freer, and even though you still have some lessons that are coming through, but yet it seems, oh well, it's just a lesson. Help me to learn it, never repeat it, and carry on. That's the way you live. It's so beautiful. You can gain, for instance, as an example, I come from above the 50th level. I lowered my vibration to the second plane. I could not lower it to the astral plane where everyone else reincarnates. My energy was too high, so I had to reincarnate from the second plane. And then I reincarnated to Earth, and I have to start over. You understand? I have to start over, and I have to start working up the planes again and graduate. I was 10 years old when I finally had worked high enough on a plane that the teachers of healing could come and work with me. So they were working with me from 10 years old as a little child. I can remember my childhood, I was always trying to tell them, don't do that, it's not right, don't do that. I was always trying to tell people what they should do. It's not, you just don't do things like that, you know. And everybody was trying to be mean to someone else somehow or other, you know. All the way to school I had the tough years. I was the one that was always getting beat up because I was always trying to stop things. But anyway,
peacemaking is a very aggressive action.
Right, exactly. So I had a wonderful childhood, but at the same token, it was tough. And then I got into my teenage life, and that was just as bad. You know, nobody would listen to me. They're still not listening to me today, but that's okay. They eventually will listen. I knew what my purpose was. I knew what my mission was. I didn't know per se that I was actually doing the healing energies, but being a healer is like an inner knowing, and the healing energies flow through you. I'm just an instrument, see? So they flow through me from the universe. And of course, to get the energy from a higher level, I had to raise my vibration in order to meet that, which I did. And by the time I got to the fourth plane, the level of the fourth plane, then my teacher that was with me from 10 years old, my high teacher of healing, that could not work direct with me, could then begin to work direct at the fourth plane. Because he was coming from the 13th plane. His name was Gandhi. And he came from 1083 to the year of the healers in India. And he stayed with me for 37 years before he says, my work is finished and I'm moving up higher, and you've moved so high now, you need a new teacher. And I've been going through teachers ever since then too, since he left after 37 years. But at 10 years old, he would work through American Indian or other Indian healers or healers from a lower level that worked through me. And it was type of situation where I would be directed or taken or called, like I used to be called by the neighbor, come on over, I'm having a lot of problems, and I just made some cookies and I need somebody to talk to. So they just talk to this little 10-year-old kid, tell them all their problems. And I would keep saying, well, everything's going to work out. Those are his lessons, and they're not your lessons, and all this kind of, I'm talking about lessons and stuff. And it just made them feel so much better. Well, as a kid, all I was enjoying was the nice fresh cookies and milk, you understand? And the same way with the teenage life. But when I got into my young 20s, I started in a service club where it was called Service to Mankind. And we did things to help other souls and help underprivileged children. And we did fundraisers and so forth. And they said I made my greatest progress at that time. And then I started moving back up the ladder. And you can read my entire chapter in book 1 of my soul progress as it went on, dates, right, everything. When the time changed and a new teacher came in, and then they'd say, Ron, you're now at the 25th, 26th, or 30th level, whatever, and we're trying to get you back up above the 50th level where you came from for your real work to begin. When I'm back up at the 5th level now, 50th level, I'm sorry, 50th level, I'm back there now, and my master director working with me is Job. Job, who wrote in the Old Testament, supposedly. I always question those things because that was all made up by man from hearsay way back then, all those religion things and so forth. So anyway, I said, is there something on the internet I can find? Oh yes, lots of information on me, Ron. You can check it up, but don't believe anything you read there, because I didn't say any of that stuff. That's exactly what he said to me. And Job is always around me, and he directs like 50 healers, and each healer is a specialty healer in their field. They could be a chiropractor, this could be a dental one, this one here is for back problems, whatever. They're all special healers, and he directs them to the full body healing for everyone that I give the healing to.
But Ron, isn't it true that even when you're doing the healing work, it's a collaboration between you and that person. The more spiritual work I do with you, the better my healings are.
That's right. It grows. Everything is a progression. As you come back for more and more healings, the higher you're going to grow. You're progressing your own level. And what I was trying to explain is that I have not lived my full life yet, and I hope I'll be here for another 50, 75 years, so that I've got a lot of work to do. But I have shown how you can work when cooperating and listening and doing what you're supposed to do from the universe by listening to your little voice and listening to your guide and carrying on. You go back up of the 50th plane. And you can earn that too. So did my sister. She went back that
so people have a point of reference too, and I think is very important with your story, is that in looking at you, something that amazed me was to find out that you're 70 years old.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
And
I don't feel 70. I don't look 70.
I know Ron, and he doesn't have any major physical problems or anything like that. Gets around fine, moves around, is very lucid, and also has no gray hair or.
Right, all my original color hair and the neutral hair.
That's not Botox. I mean, that's just how he looks. So
that's true.
That's from the healing energies.
That's right. Every time I give the healing, I receive the healing. However, at all times, I'm always receiving healing to keep my energy level at a certain height. And also, I'm given the protection from my master. Well, it's a high teacher now. My guide is, as I'm growing naturally, he's growing. So he's a very high teacher, in fact, now. But he still has to remain as my guide as long as I'm here on this mission, because he came to be with me for this mission on the earth. But his name is Santos, and he is...
Well, let's introduce Santos. Hold on one second.
Yeah, here it's an interesting picture. And this was done by a psychic back in 1979, who you sit down with, and he puts a piece of felt paper on his easel, and he gets the chalks out, and he works with chalks. And he sees your guide and he paints him in 15 minutes.
And that's Santos, your guide, just to be
This is Santos, the guide, the picture of Santos. He was the chief of the Iroquois Indians in upstate New York. He was an Indian chief. He's a very tall, very large Indian. And he is very powerful and very strong. And he's been maintaining the protection, a divine protection around me and around the home.
Hold the picture up some, Ron, because I got a glare. There we go. Now we can see it.
See it better? Okay.
And bring it down a little bit. I'm trying to get rid of the glare completely and bring it over this way.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Leave it right there. There's not a glare in it. Okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you got Santos?
Yeah.
He is a wonderful Indian. And anyway, he's a high teacher now, and as a high teacher, he can help all other guides. So whoever comes to me for healing or whoever I send healing to, he can help the guides of those people to get a better rapport, that they start listening and paying attention. I was just going to show a picture of me. Can you get that centered there? When I was a child, this just shows how it doesn't look like anyone else, like a little baby.
Keep holding it, Ron. I'm going to zoom in.
It comes from the universe, and you're a little child. There I am in my little rocking chair, and it was a Christmas time.
Move it over to the right.
Mm-hmm.
To the other way, sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, there's a glare from back there.
Up, down,
Tilt it forward.
forward.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Got it.
And I'm holding my little Scotty dog in my little rocking chair in front of the Christmas tree. I guess I'm about 1 year old there. I don't remember.
Okay.
But this just shows you. And then I'm going to show you a picture of Jan, my sister, who also, I'm going to explain a little more about her. Also came as a beautiful...
Hold it a little higher, Ron.
A little higher?
Little higher. Little higher. Right there. Okay. Got it.
Okay, that's good. That's little Jan with her dog. See? Then as the years went on, here's a picture of me when I was in the food and beverage business.
Hold it up, Ron.
Higher?
Yep.
The food and beverage business, and I just had a photo taken.
Little to your left.
To my left.
Okay. There you go. Got it.
Okay, and I was just having a picture taken at a function, a banquet that we had, and when we had it developed, the light, see the light on my left ear, or my left shoulder? The light came into the picture. Prior to this, I was asking for my healing teacher, Gandhi, not Gandhi, Gandhi, G-A-N-D-I, Gandhi, to show himself, show his light in a picture for me so I can keep it. And he came in that picture. You see the light coming down over my shoulder and off the side of the head. And that's the size of the light of a very high teacher. At that point, he probably was at about the 18th or 20th plane. Because as you grow, your tiny little light grows larger with you. And it's a larger, brighter light. The more light in size, the higher that you come from in the universe. See that?
Got it, Ron.
Good. And then, as my sister, I said, she's been, Jan Rosamond Adler, she's been taken back to the universe.
Hold it up higher, Ron.
In 1996, in April of 1996.
Higher and tilt it forward a bit.
Okay. Can you see that one better? Anyway, she was taken back because the universe said that I should hold on to all the information, hold the books up.
Straighten the picture out for me, Ron.
Is that better?
It's tilted down. I'm saying hold it on its sides like this. So it's, there you go. There you go, sorry. Okay, keep talking.
Got it good?
Yep.
Anyway, so she was called back to the universe to help them open minds there because they just weren't opening here, even though she wrote for thousands of people, writing from the universe. And we did a lot of group, 200 people groups, you know, where they would ask questions and she'd write the answers and so forth. So they called her back home to the universe. And her picture, which we did take one shot of, showing her the picture that is to the right, in the center, really, it's in the center, was there. There was a picture of her, and it was there in this photograph when this was taken, and I had set it away in a little cupboard, and I just found it there a few weeks ago, and I said, I got to put that out in a frame. And I look at it, and her picture is empty. It's all white light in the frame of the picture. Can you see that? And over next to my brother, on the side of a teacher, is her light from above the 50th level. So look at the size difference. And it comes right over my brother's shoulder. And that happened just laying in the cupboard. It developed that way, and it came out as like a lot of other wonderful things have happened in my life. And I'm so proud of this picture now. And I have a picture of my sister's light that she has earned going back to the 50th, above the 50th plane. Showing that we all can go back. We all can go that high. We can make that progress right here if we start listening and paying attention. And that's what it's all about. They want us to become teachers. They want us, when we finish this earth, to go back home to the universe and be a teacher, to help all these other souls. They don't have enough teachers to go around because teaching has to be done on a one-to-one basis. There's no classrooms. We don't have classrooms in the universe like we do here. And people just have to be told so they can understand in their own way when they're ready. And you grow into knowledge. Knowledge is a thing you have to grow into. You can't give someone knowledge that the earth is round when they believed it was flat. For a long time. It took a man a long time to accept that. Same with everything else. How would you ever accept some of the things of us flying up into space and so forth? Just 50 years ago or 60 years ago, you know. Yeah, well, maybe a little longer than that, but back in the 20s, let's say. It was just never heard of, many of those things. We've progressed so fast in technology and in so many other ways, but we're not progressing spiritually.
And that's something I want to segue into, because I believe collectively, if we put our souls together rather than minds, and ask for more help from the universe, we could actually manifest things with our minds, but they say we haven't earned that yet, correct?
That's correct. There are civilizations in other universes that can move everything by thought. They don't use any physical means whatsoever. They want to move their residence to another place, they just think it there and it's there, furniture and all. They don't have to move it. They don't have to lift up a glass of water, they just think it and it's in their hand. Those are the civilizations that actually came to Earth, or were sent to Earth by the universe way back at the time of the Egyptians and all the periods of time in history that had pyramids. The pyramids were sliced by thought, and that is hard to grasp. They just thought the exact and precise cut that they wanted to the stone, and they thought the plan, the design, the pattern, which was given to the universe as a triangle pattern, representing the 3 lifetimes. One at the bottom of the triangle, one at this side, and the last one on the top. When you reach the top is your third and final life on this earth. And the steps of the pyramid is to grow and progress up these steps to reach the top. That's the symbol of the pyramid that was given to earth in those days. Not one was lifted by a human hand. They were all levitated by the minds of great souls that have earned this. And you can all get to that point someday. Reach
So
that
what was
point.
lost in that time? Why we aren't?
Corruption. Corruption just put an end to it all. Everything went down. All civilizations were lost and down. There are some civilizations, so like the alien civilization in Machu Picchu in Peru was an alien civilization that lived way up in the mountains. And they came from spaceship. That's how they traveled. They didn't need roads. There's no roads, and it's a very difficult climb to climb up there and get to see it, and it's supposed to be a very spiritual place. But the universe says it's just a money-making place, and there's nothing spiritual about it at all. It's an old civilization that used to be on Earth, and they were all aliens. And those good aliens, they were good aliens, when they made the progress that they need, they were removed from the Earth. They just take them back to the Earth and put them on another planet or someplace where they can be more help. There are civilizations that existed that are down under our oceans, and only reminiscences of it, like Easter Island and the Galapagos and all those islands and all that. There's places, those odd places where there's unusual creatures and some statues that they don't quite understand how they got there and everything. They were all parts of civilization. The rest of the civilization is down under the water and existed there. Did you know there's also one here we're coming from Los Angeles, of course. In Los Angeles, on the coast of Los Angeles, and what's left of that civilization is the island of Santa Catalina and the Santa Rosa Islands off of Santa Barbara. That was an ancient civilization. On that island in Santa Barbara, on one of the islands in Santa Barbara, they found the oldest artifacts ever found in North America on that island. And who was the head of that civilization? Isis, an ancient Egyptian goddess called Isis. And she was the head of that civilization. And her soul returned and reincarnated back onto that island, and she was Mrs. Wrigley, the Wrigley Chewing Gum Empire. And her home on that island is now a very fancy bed and breakfast place. That's the connections. We'll go back a little bit on connections. I was starting to say before about my sister that when Mary Todd Lincoln came to write for her, she said that in my first life I was on Atlantis at the time that the corruption was taken over, and I was trying to stop the people from following these other people and to hang on to what they had as far as knowledge and way of life, and everything was spiritual and was not supposed to be greed, selfishness, and take and steal and so forth. And that corruption set in, and you know what happened? He couldn't control it, and down went Atlantis. It got so bad. They say she says that the corruption on Earth is the same level it was at the time of Atlantis. So you're going to see a lot of changes if you don't, or we, the people of Earth, do not pay attention to what the universe is bringing in their messages and telling us what we need to do to change.
On that note, do you agree with Nostradamus' predictions in 2012 in the Mayan calendar that would be the end of Earth as we know it?
Okay, let's get into that. That's a good subject because everybody's talking about that these days. Nostradamus was another great messenger. He was locked up to be crazy because he got all this information about everything 500 years before anything happens. You know? So he was one of our messengers and one of the teachers that came at that time for that period to try to open minds 500 years ago. Now you see many of the things that have happened and been realized. And this I'm going to say 2010, 11, 12, and 13, I'm going to put all those years together, is going to be the big turnover, big change time. It is not going to be the end. It's not going to be complete annihilation of everything. Everybody thinks it's the end of the world, and it's just not going to happen that way. But there's going to be a lot of changes, drastic changes, and they will start as soon as the comet ship lands. If they don't start changing their ways after that landing, listening to the messages that Jesus will be bringing and all these high teachers will be bringing for us to get on with our life and change the way we're living at this time, then you're going to see major mogul disasters like we've never seen on this earth for a long, long time. And they're going to happen in these areas that is needed with the most corruption first. And you're going to see the earth changing as we know it. The whole geographical, the geography of the earth is going to change. Bit by here, we see it